So, it comes to this. Well, I would say welcome back, but I don't really think any of you should have been here before, so welcome to my channel. I've gotten a lot of messages over the past couple months that I should start a channel. So I figured, why not give it a shot? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Lucas. A lot of people know me by Zanny on YouTube. I like to review people's recipes that they put out, try them, tell them what I think. I usually leave extremely lengthy comments. I also comment probably far too often, and I watch a lot of videos. A lot of you guys might know me as the person who constantly gets reposted on Instagram, maybe like an hour after somebody uploads a recipe. It's just what I do. I enjoy trying the recipes, and I like giving people feedback because I can tell a lot of these people are passionate about what they want to put out. And so if my opinion can help them improve their recipes going forward, or just tweak minor things, then I'm all for it. That's just some general knowledge about me, or, fun facts, trivia, whatever. So this is going to be kind of a combination video of just a little bit about my channel, what it's going to be from here on out, as well as an original creation that I have been working on the past couple months. So this channel, right now I've got a couple ideas for it that are pretty set in stone. Obviously I'm going to be making recipes, as well as reviewing other recipes that people have put out, letting you guys know what I think, because I know a lot of people are hesitant to try recipes. They don't want to dedicate the calories to a recipe just to find out that it's not good. So I will do that for you. A lot of the times the recipes are good and people are just daunted by the process of making it, or they think it's too much effort, etc. The biggest reason that I review recipes is that I know, just from how much effort I put into my recipes, how much effort some of these people would be putting into theirs. Far more than mine, right? And a lot of these recipes don't get tested, which personally I just feel like it's a waste. They put so much effort into it, and I really want people to be able to experience these recipes, and they want you guys to try them too. So I will review recipes. I will give you my honest feedback of them. I will not lie to you guys in the slightest. If a recipe is not good, or I don't like something about a recipe, I will tell you, and I will tell them. That is my accountability that I will hold myself to. On a similar note, the other purpose of this channel is to create recipes of my own. I will never put out a recipe that is not tested. I will never put out a recipe that I do not personally enjoy. Going back to that previous point, if people don't want to take the risk of trying a recipe and it not turning out good, I'm not going to put out a recipe unless I love it. I will be as unbiased as I possibly can. So with that out of the way, I'd say let's move on to the recipe that I will be giving you guys today. So this is the recipe for my eggnog ice cream that I got, which was inspired by a conversation that me and Nicholas, Exercise for Cheat Meals, had through some DMs. Starting with the wet ingredients, you're going to want 65 milliliters of almond milk, or 65 grams. Throughout the video, I'm gonna constantly say milliliters or mils. Just know that that's interchangeable with grams. It's a habit. You're also going to want 200 grams of frozen almond milk. Now, the size of your almond milk that's frozen does not matter. It does not matter what shape it's frozen in. It doesn't matter if it's a massive puck. It doesn't matter if you freeze it into tiny little cubes. It works regardless. I've tested it. You'll see in the video that mine is just a giant hockey puck that's like that big. Works fine. So you don't need to stress about that. You're also going to want 115 grams of Greek yogurt. Next up, you're going to want 1 large egg. Now, yes, this recipe does contain a raw egg. You can use pasteurized eggs if you really are concerned about eating a raw egg, but just know that I've tested this cream over 40 times. Every single time past attempt 15 or so has been with a raw egg. So I've easily consumed 25 plus raw eggs in the past month. Nothing bad has happened to me. I highly doubt anything will happen to you from it, but don't take my word for it. Do whatever is going to make you feel safe, obviously. If you wanted to use egg whites instead, you would want about 50 to 55 grams of egg whites. You're not going to get the exact same flavor by using egg whites as you would the whole egg, because you're going to be dropping the fat content quite a bit, but that's an option you could have if you don't want to use the raw egg. Next up, you're going to want 30 grams or 30 milliliters of a sugar-free coffee syrup. This is the brand I'm using. It's Torani. Another option I know would work is Jordan's Skinny Syrup. They also have a vanilla. Just anything as long as it's a sugar-free vanilla syrup will work. Next up, you're going to want 1 teaspoon or 4.2 grams of vanilla extract. Here's the brand that I use. Coming up next, you're going to want 1.5 grams of rum extract and 1 gram of butter extract. An optional ingredient would be 4 to 5 drops of a yellow food coloring. It's completely optional. You don't need to put it in. Bit of a weird one, but for this, I really like to use sweetener as a wet ingredient. Here's the sweetener that I use, pure cane. I got this based off of a recommendation from Nick. You're going to want 12 grams of it. And then lastly, for your wet ingredients, you're going to need 260 grams of ice. Starting with the dry ingredients, I like to go with my thickening agents first. So you're going to want 7 grams of a vanilla pudding powder, sugar-free pudding powder. You're going to want 1.5 grams of each xanthan gum and guar gum. This is just the container that I have my guar gum in. It lasts me forever. Now, you could just use 3 grams total of guar gum or xanthan gum if you don't have the combination of both, but using both of them really helps it have a much creamier consistency, so I would very much recommend you using both of them if you're able to, but just know that 3 grams total is what you want. So next up, you're going to want 1 gram of salt. You're also going to want 1.5 grams of cinnamon, 0.5 gram of nutmeg, and 0.4 grams of ginger. For clarification purposes, these are the ginger and nutmeg that I use. It's just ground ginger powder. And you guys know what cinnamon looks like, hopefully. Lastly, you're going to want 1 1/3 scoops, which comes out for my brand, to 44 grams of a vanilla whey protein powder. So, you're going to want to start off with your 115 grams of Greek yogurt. I like to measure. It would really help if I had the scale on. I'm just gonna leave it in, you know? Whatever. Mistakes happen. Alright, so 115 grams of Greek yogurt going in. 113.5. 115. Cool. Can't taste it. Don't care. So I like to start with the I like to start with the wet ingredients first. I don't really need to measure an egg, right? It's an egg. So I'm not going to give you a measurement for that. Tear it out. Throw the egg away. Next, we're going to want the 65 mils of almond milk. 65.3 works for me. I do like to do the wet ingredients first. Now we're going to do the 30 mils of sugar-free vanilla syrup. It's okay if you're off a little bit. I got 31.1. Not gonna matter. Now we want our vanilla extract. I forgot to get this out ahead of time because I'm unprepared. So, we want a teaspoon or 4.2 mils or grams, whatever you want to say. 4.2. Cool. Moving on, I do my salt next. Now, you don't have to use a salt grinder. It's just what I've got, so it's what I use. We want a gram of salt. One gram. Put that up. So these are the extracts I'm using. Along with the vanilla, we've got butter and rum. So for the rum extract, we want 1.5 mils. And for the butter extract, we want 1 mil or 1 gram. 1. Cool. Delicious. Not really. Probably getting cut. A really good tip, you can't really see that, but, so I still have the film. Here, let me take this off. I have the film covering the thing, and all I've done is just poke a small hole in it with a toothpick. That way I can just go drop by drop. It's much easier to control it that way. So I'm going to add in the sweetener next. We want 12 grams. It's already starting to smell like eggnog. 12 grams. This is the brand of sweetener that I use. Pure cane. I got that based off a recommendation from Nick, Exercise for Cheat Meals. So I decided to give it a try. It was on a really good sale for the holidays. I like it. I would recommend. So now we're going to move on to the dry ingredients. Normally I would do thickening agents first, but I'm going to start adding the spices first. I just find that it mixes a bit better. So going with the cinnamon, we want 1.5 grams. I'm just going to give this thing about a million spanks. 1.5 grams. Big tip here, these spices are light, right? They don't weigh very much. Even with a 0.1 gram scale like I've got, it doesn't always read it super accurately. So, big tip is just not tearing the scale afterwards. So it still reads 1.5 grams right here. Now I'm going to take the ginger and I'm going to put in the 0.4 grams. And I will stop when this reads 1.9, which it reads right now. And then, especially with the nutmeg, this stuff is very light. So I would very much recommend not tearing your scale or resetting it. So now we're going to go in with the 0.5 gram of nutmeg. Going to stop at 2.4. Vigorous shakes can help. So it reads, oh, it went back down to 2.4. Excellent. Great. So that is all of that done. Now I will tear out this scale. And now I'm going to start adding in the thickening agents. We're going with 7 grams. This is just vanilla pudding. Had to yawn. Hopefully you guys can't hear it raining right now. Because for whatever reason, the one time I decide to try and start filming, it just decides to rain. So thank you, Oklahoma. Next we're going to go in with the 1.5 grams of guar gum plus the 1.5 grams of xanthan gum. Now, you can use either or. You can use all guar gum. You can use all xanthan gum. The combination of the two really produces a much creamier end result. So I would recommend using both if you can. As long as you end up with 3 grams total. So, you know, if you do 1.7 grams guar gum, you'd want 1.3 xanthan. Which is actually what happened to me this time. Had to pause the camera there a bit, clean off the bottom of the blender because the xanthan gum got all over it. Went and got an ingredient that I forgot because, airhead. This is just yellow food coloring, completely optional, but you know, eggnog, it's yellow. Anywhere from 4 to 5 drops, completely optional, don't have to put it in. I just like the aesthetic. Sue me. Finally, we're going to add in our 44 grams of vanilla bodybuilding protein powder. This comes out for me a 1.5 scoops. A serving size for this particular brand is 33 grams. This is a 1.5 scoops. So 44 grams total, or whatever a 1.5 scoops is for you. The ratio of how much vanilla protein you want does vary based on the brand you're using. So I can't give you a completely accurate measurement for other brands. So start with a 1.5 scoops. If it's too much, bring it down. If it's not vanilla enough, bump it up a bit, you know? Or just go with 44 grams and trust me. I don't know. I mean, I trust me. But I've also made this 47 times, so. Okay, that's all. Now, last 2 ingredients are eggs. Nope, not eggs. Last 2 ingredients would be the ice and the almond milk. The frozen almond milk. So, I freeze my ice, keep it in this big tray. Here's my brick of almond milk. It does not matter that this is a solid hockey puck, because I've tested this and it's going to handle it just fine. Just fine. So we want 460 grams total of frozen ingredients. Right now, with just the almond milk, we're sitting at 196.8. I put 200 in. You know, not all 200 got in. Not a big deal. Just gonna add in until it hits 460. $459.1. 460. Put things away as you are done with them. So, now we're just going to slap this lid on and start blending it. You might think that hockey puck in there is going to ruin things. It won't. So I'm going to go throw this on the blender for a minute, bring it back here, stop it, scrape it down, and I'll show you what we're working with then. So, 1 minute later, I just, you know, pop it down a bit. This is what we're dealing with here. I'm going to scrape this in because we don't want any of this to be not accounted for. Or we want as much of the liquid to remain in the cream as possible, except for what I just licked. So as you can see, let me set this down, grab this, right? You can see that big chunk of almond, it's gone. No need to worry, it'll work. Didn't even stress the blender. Now we just want to stop and scrape this down how you would do a normal cream. I know it looks very liquidy right now, but it will thicken up. That was just the first minute, and there was quite a bit of liquid. Okay, and I just like to get all of the ice cream back into the blender that I can. You know, within reason. Some of it inevitably goes missing. Don't know why. Just gonna pop this back on the blender again for another minute and 45 seconds, and then I will meet you back here again. Okay, and we're done. So, I'm just going to take out the blending stick now, scrape it down, get as much off as I can. I do not advise doing what I'm about to do. You can and will injure yourself. But I like to think I'm a master of cream and creamology. So, you know, just don't try this at home. Phenomenal. Alright. Seriously, don't lick the blade. Alright. I don't injure myself, but that doesn't mean that you won't. So, hey look, it's the big blue bowl. That's my signature. So this is what we're working with here after 245. It's liquid. It'll pour itself, but it's still ice cream. That's what we want. This is not going to be something that you can hold over your head for hours on end. There's too much liquid in it. And quite frankly, I prefer a milkshake more than I do the actual ice cream. So that's what we're working with. Give it a taste. Yeah. Yeah. I have worked quite hard on this, honestly, to get this to the point of tasting as close as I possibly could to eggnog, while still being macro friendly. Okay, so if you make this cream exactly how I laid it out in this video, you're going to be looking at 363 calories, 52.4 grams of protein, 16.2 grams of carbs, and 10.2 grams of fat. The sweetener I use, the pure cane stuff, is erythritol based, so the 12 grams would bump it up to 28.2 carbs, but erythritol is not processed like other sweeteners are, so it drops back down to a net carb of 16.2. One of the things I really like to do with this cream, the cream is fine on its own. You can just eat the cream by itself. You'll have a good eggnog tasting cream. One thing I really like to do for mix-ins is take Black Thor's gingerbread cookie recipe that he has up. I will link it down in the description below. And I take about 100 calories worth of that, crumb them up, and throw them in the cream. I didn't have any on hand today, so I can't do that this time. I'm just going to enjoy the cream. Anything cinnamon based works really well as a mix-in with this. It just complements the flavor nicely. if I had those ginger snap cookies made, or the gingerbread cookies made, I would definitely throw those in. I would highly recommend you guys try them out. They're very good. It's a very good recipe that he put out. So substitutions, comments, concerns, anything like that. Obviously, the recipe contains a raw egg. You can pasteurize the egg yourself, or you could just omit it and use about 50 to 55 grams of egg whites instead. You would drop the calories down, you would have more protein. If you sub out the whole egg for the egg whites, it's not going to taste the same. It's actually going to have more of like a pumpkin-y spice flavor, which is kind of weird, but it's how it works. I've eaten a lot of raw eggs in the past couple months, and I'm still perfectly fine. I've eaten a lot of raw eggs my entire life, and I'm still perfectly fine. So I'm not going to say it won't kill you, but I will say the probability pretty low from my personal experience. A couple quick shout outs. I do want to thank Mina Ayub for the initial thought of putting a combination of xanthan and guar gum into the recipes. Ever since he made that ice cream video where he suggested doing that, I've started using it for my creams, and they've turned out much smoother, much creamier ever since then. So, huge thank you to him for that. I do want to also give a quick shout out to Nick, Exercise for Cheat Meals, for just inspiring me to make creams, man. Ever since he put out his recipes and I've tried them, I've loved every single recipe that he's put out, so it really just inspired me to try and develop my own recipe. But anyways, guys, if you decide to give this cream a try, definitely let me know down in the comments if you tried it out, if you liked it, what you think could be different, any improvements that could be made to it. Leave that stuff down in the comments. I will definitely be checking those. I will respond to them. If you have any questions or anything like that, also leave them down there. I will answer those as well. If you guys have any suggestions for any type of flavors you want me to make, leave them down there as well. I will get to them, or you know, at least consider them. I can't promise anything, but one thing I can promise is that these will be coming out real soon. Okay, bye.